it's Halloween and gamers everywhere are playing their favorite horror-themed video games. Like maybe you're gonna play a Castlevania game or a Splatterhouse game. But for me personally, I'm gonna be playing something a little bit different tonight. I'm gonna be playing Dark Tower on the Vectrex.
Now the Vectrex itself is already a forgotten console, and with my name being Vectrex for Life, you had to have known I was going to be doing a Vectrex game review at some point. But anyway, the Dark Tower Vectrex game actually came from the Dark Tower board game, which was made in 1981. The game consisted of the player finding 3 keys to open the Dark Tower while avoiding evil monsters.
In this amazing game, I had to find 3 keys, lay siege to the tower, and defeat the enemy within.
And I was victorious. Dark Tower.
And as for the Vectrex game itself, well, it was developed in 1983 but never actually released. There is one known prototype to exist, and there are ROMs of the game floating around on the internet.
But is there a way to play Dark Tower on a real Vectrex without using an emulator? Well, actually there is, if you get yourself one of these, the Vectrex 72-in-1 multi-cart. Now, I have to thank the guys at the Ravens Retro Nest for producing this, because without it, I wouldn't be able to review many Vectrex games, and it just so happens one of the games on this multi-cart is Dark Tower.
If you remember some of my earlier videos, I used to just position the camera on the TV screen, then record it. But one day I just told my camera, nope, and I bought myself a DVD recorder. Now I would just record the Vectrex off the DVD recorder, but unfortunately due to its unique vector graphic display, there is no way to connect it. So please excuse the non-professional videography. So after booting up the multi-cart, going through its menu and selecting Dark Tower, you'll be greeted by the same sort of title screen as all the original Vectrex games had, as well as a cheerful tune. Then you pick game mode 1, 2, 3, or 4. The lower the number, the harder the game is. Then the game starts and you play as this unidentified person, or as the game calls it, the warrior. It's pretty weird not knowing who this person is or what he looks like because the entire game is played behind his back. Could it be Arnold Schwarzenegger? Maybe Wilford Brimley? How about Vectrex for Life? Nobody really knows who this guy is. But think back to the early 80s where there were hardly any human video game characters. The only other real character in Vectrex history is Spike, but even Spike wasn't a human. I mean, he looks more like a porcupine. So yes, Dark Tower was the very first Vectrex game to star a real human. So much like the board game, the object in Dark Tower is to find 4 keys to open the Dark Tower, although in the board game you only had to find 3. There are 4 different types of trees, each representing a section of the forest. Besides the trees looking different, they're all pretty much the same, except for the dead trees section, which is filled with deadly plague. So if you walk into that dead trees section, your player will disappear. Now I'm assuming he died from the plague, but the plague fills more than half the screen, so you can't really tell if he died or not. And then a replacement warrior comes out to take his place. Now when walking around the forest, you'll find 2 different items, chests and bags of gold. Multiple different things can be inside the chest, so you really don't know what's inside until you open them. There can be gold, plague, or even nothing. Yeah, nothing. And that can get kind of frustrating because if you're walking around for a minute and you haven't been able to find a chest, and when you do find that chest, there's nothing inside. So it's not like there's a point to even having it. It's just there to tease you.
You get nothing! You lose!
Now next to getting nothing, the other most common thing you'll find in a chest is a warp which takes you to the monsters known as the Brigands. This is when the game turns into more of an action game. Here the Brigands come out from the walls and throw flamoids at you. Now what the heck is a flamoid? It would have been way more acceptable if they just called them fireballs or a ninja star, but a flamoid? Man, it would have been so much cooler if the Brigands threw Hadoukens at you, instead of this weird projectile known as a flamoid.
Hadouken! 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 Hadouken!
So if one of the flamoids hits you, then you'll be sent back to the forest. But if you kill a certain number of Brigands, then you'll be rewarded with gold. But what exactly do you do with all this gold? Well, occasionally, if you open up a certain chest, then a wizard will appear, and he's all like, boogly boogly boo. And if you don't have enough gold to buy anything from him, then he'll just tell you to be gone.
I want to be gone!
And if you have enough gold, then you can buy things like extra lives or even the 4th key. But the minimum price for the gold key is 60 gold, and the most gold I've ever been able to get is 16. And I even had it on the easiest difficulty. So it will probably take you at least a half an hour to get that much gold to buy the key. And once you do find the key, then you'll go to the center of the forest and you'll be warped to the Dark Tower. But I've never been able to do it. So I really don't know what the end of the game looks like, and there's no footage on YouTube of it anywhere. Believe me, I would like to show the end of the game, but I just can't beat it. You start out the game with 5 warriors, but I haven't been able to beat it since I kept running into the plague. There is no map of the game at all, so you really don't know where you're going unless you memorize where all the trees are. You'll just be wandering around and all of a sudden the plague will come out of nowhere or the fog will come out of nowhere. And that's another thing, I forgot to mention the fog. The fog is pretty much the same thing as the plague, only it will warp you to a random location.
So that's Dark Tower for you. Overall, I'd say it's a pretty fun game with a great challenge and really nice graphics, and provides a really good atmosphere for Halloween. Now, you might be saying, well, this isn't a horror game, it's not really scary, but think about it. Think about playing this game in the dark, like at midnight on Halloween, and you running into the plague just out of nowhere, and that creepy music settling into your soul. It's a creepy game, but not in the sense of creepy that we normally think of. So, I'd say check it out. I think it's pretty fun. And I'll also check out this multi-car because without it I wouldn't be able to review this. So, have a happy Halloween, and thanks for watching.